Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play?
Yeah, I have to play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
So I have a hand.
Hello to all the viewers and welcome to the 5th round of the Formula SimRacing ACE Championship. We're here in Canada, in Montreal, and today I will be joined in the commentary box by Ian Breslin. So welcome, Ian.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. The qualifying has already started. We are 5 minutes into the qualifying, and as you can see, there is some rain on the track. Indeed, it was raining at the start of the practice session, then it stopped, and it has been progressively drying out ever since. I think we could see a lot of drivers already on the dry tires. So, the practice was won by Andrei Bortovsky, but the lap time was set on the dry track before it started raining. So I think I'm pretty sure we'll see a different order in the qualifying. Question is, are there some lap times on the board already? There are. So far the fastest lap time is set by Felix van Delft, 1:15.5. So let's get on the track and see what the drivers will be setting and what the drivers are doing at the moment. So let's take a look.
So it is still quite wet off the racing line at the moment, so if any driver does make a mistake and puts a wheel slightly out of place, they are being punished quite severely.
Indeed, and to not forget, there is still a 55% chance of rain for the race, so the conditions on the track could change quite quickly. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting race. And as you said, you know, on this drying track with the dry tires, it's very easy to make a mistake, because you know, you go 1 centimeter wide and your lap is screwed basically. So you know, it's a big pressure on the drivers, and you know, they all need to be very careful. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come out on top here in this qualifying session.
Just a quick update there from the weatherman. It's the chance of rain has dropped to 15% during the race.
Okay, good. So let's see who's on a hot lap currently. You see someone. A lot of drivers either in the pits or on the out lap. So, but I'm thinking, yeah.
I think a lot of people are hoping that others will dry up the track so that they can have a better chance out of a run later on the dry track.
Yeah, it could be. Right now I'm looking at Danny van der Niet, who is on his first hot lap of the day, and it is a 1:16.2 that puts him into 4th place. So not a bad first lap from him. 1 second behind Ernesto De Angelis, who has put himself up into provisional pole position by 3/10 in front of Felix van Delft and Victor Ivanov in 3rd place. So yeah, good qualifying so far from Ernesto De Angelis. Obviously he hasn't raced for a while, so
very respectable lap time considering the race conditions or qualifying conditions.
Indeed, we mustn't forget that Ernesto De Angelis is if I'm not forgotten, a 2002 world champion, so he obviously has some experience. So yeah, but right now Felix van Delft actually 1.5 tenths faster in the 2nd sector, so we will see a very good exit out of the final chicane now, coming up to the start-finish straight and the line, and he is 2 tenths faster. Yeah, indeed, 1:14.9. So the first driver to put the time under 1:15. So yeah, good lap, very good lap from him. It was actually his 2nd hot lap already, so yeah. We've got some 11.5 minutes to go, so there's still a lot of time left.
Track conditions are improving all the time as well. We're seeing a lot of drivers do a lot better lap times than they've done in their first lap.
Yeah, as well. Also, yeah, the track conditions, as you said, are getting better and better each minute, and also the drivers are getting more and more comfortable with the conditions, as I think we saw an ACR driver crashing on the start-finish straight. I'm not sure if that's true, and who it was exactly, as Christopher Raby comes through the line to set 10th fastest lap time, 1:16.5, which is almost 2 seconds of the pace. Sander Callas now 1:14.7, so now he is the man to beat. He is now on provisional pole, 2 tenths ahead of Felix van Delft. Because Sander Callas is also the current championship leader. So let's see who's now on a hot lap. I'm looking at who's that? That's Arif Roslan, who is currently in 8th place and on a hot lap as well. So let's see what he do in the first sector. 3/10 up on his best sector, but 3/10 down on Sander Callas. So yeah, not bad, but currently it would put him into 7th place in front of Danny van der Niet. So that would be 1 position gain, but you know, it's only 1 sector. So let's see what he can do at the rest of this lap. And so far so good.
Been a very tidy lap so far.
Indeed. Now half a second quicker. Yeah, he could get himself up into the top 5, which would be very good for him. So let's see now the long straight. He's got Araneda right ahead of him. He's not probably going to bother him too much. So let's see. The final chicane is very important, and it's very easy to make a mistake there. Not bad. Not the quickest exit, but it was clean, so that's good. And let's see. He lost actually 3/10 in the final sector and only managed to gain 1 position there. So yeah, pretty decent lap from him, but there is definitely some more time to gain, as he has lost 3/10 in the final sector, like I said. So Who
We've
else?
we've seen a lot of drivers making a lot of mistakes coming into
Yeah.
that last chicane. During the practice session, it was quite a wet section of the track, even after we had seen a very clear dry line forming.
Definitely. Now I'm watching Sander Callas. He's on his new hot lap and 3/10 up on his previous best. So that is a very, very quick first sector from Sander Callas, the Estonian driver, doing a very, very good job so far. So let's see what he can do. So far he is 2/10 faster than anybody else, and if he's gonna get a better lap, that's gonna be so far quite a dominance from the Estonian driver. But let's see what other drivers can do as well. Almost half a second up on his lap time in the second sector. Let's see what he can do in the final chicane. He needs to stay calm, not make any mistakes, don't get too distracted by the amount of time he has gained. But now Lucas Alves actually on provisional pole, but I'm pretty sure that's going to get beaten by Sander Callas. Pretty good exit from the final chicane. Coming up to the line, is it going to be a 1:14? 1:14.1, almost 6/10 faster than anybody else. That is very, very impressive. And now Elio De Angelis has put himself up into second place, just ahead of Lucas Alves. So yeah, it's shaping up right here. 7.5 minutes to go. I think we're still going to see some improvements here in Montreal, and I hear some crashing noises. So drivers still making mistakes, still getting used to the track. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very exciting race. So let's see, Felix van Delft on his hot lap now. Do we have anybody else? We do have also Victor Ivanov.
He's just about to complete his lap now.
Yeah, exactly. So let's keep an eye on him. Pretty aggressive in the final chicane. Has Luke McGuire ahead of him, crosses the line and
That's a
goes.
great lap.
Wow, great lap from Victor Ivanov. Very impressive. 1:14.5, only 3/10, almost 4/10 behind Sander Callas. So very impressive from the Bulgarian driver, I guess it is. Not too sure.
What this qualifying will really come down to is who will be where on the last run, because that's what's going to determine it. The drying conditions on this track are improving all the time.
Indeed, indeed. So let's see. Now I'm looking at Felix van Delft. He has an improvement as well, almost 4/10 of an improvement. That could potentially put him into second place again. So let's see what he can do coming up to the line, and it's a 1:14.3, and indeed it is second place for Felix van Delft once again. 2/10 behind Sander Callas, so Sander Callas still on provisional pole. Can we get under 1:14? We will have to wait and see.
So we only have 5 drivers at the moment inside the 1:14 range, but a number of people who are knocking on the door who are very close, and some of them who are actually on a hot lap at the moment, so I'm expecting some of them to be improving and dipping into the 1:14s.
Yeah, Christoph Schur is now on a hot lap, but there isn't an improvement for him. And also we have Sander Callas from the top 10 on a hot lap, and there is a very, very slight improvement, 100 of a second in the first sector. But it is a little bit of an improvement. Let's see what he can do in the rest of the lap. Let's also take a look at Christoph Schur. He gained a little bit of time in the second sector, around 2/10, but didn't have the best exit coming out of the hairpin there. Touched the wet line a little bit, and
He also has Danny right in front of him now, so he may end up getting some turbulent air from him.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he also got some slipstream, because his top speed was 332 kilometers. So that is very good, and he actually gained time by that. So 3/10 of an improvement almost. That puts him into 6th place. I think there is still time to gain for Christoph Schur. He has one last try to do so. So Sander Callas, he was on a hot lap and didn't improve. He was slower by 700ths of a second. So yeah, it's going to be quite tough to get under 1:14. It will be interesting to see if anybody can do that. Right now, I'm looking at Sergi Eras and Danny van der Niet. So Sergi Eras, he will be the first one to finish the hot lap. He is 1.5 up on his previous bets. That could put him into 6th place. Let's see what he can do in the final chicane. Coming up to it now. pretty good exit. A little bit oversteery on the exit there. Let's see, will he improve? He will improve indeed, up into 4th place ahead of Ernesto De Angelis by only 200ths of a second. So very close here in Montreal, as it can be expected, because gaps on this track are always very close. Maybe even the closest, you know, all season. Now we have Danny van der Niet coming up to the line, and it's an improvement as well, up into 7th place ahead of Christoph Schur. Good lap from him. If he could find one more 10th, he could be in the top 5. He has one more try as well. Let's take a look now. Who else is on a hot lap? It is Ernesto De Angelis, and now it was Lucas Alves who was on the hot lap, coming up through the line, and he put himself up into P3. So now let's take a look at Ernesto De Angelis. He's the only guy from the top 10 on a hot lap. So
oh, Luke McGuire just put in an absolutely spectacular lap, a 1:14.6, which moves him up to 6th place.
Good job, very good job from him. So far, Ernesto De Angelis, 100 of an improvement, almost 200 of an improvement in the first sector. So let's see what he can do, if he can find a few more 10s in the rest of the lap. It's quite hard to do so, because it is a relatively short track, and lost a little bit of time in the second sector. Could find 10th or 2 in the final sector, who knows? Let's wait and see. So the top speed is 321 almost, and pretty aggressive over the curbs in the final chicane, but it could be beneficial. Let's see. I gained a little bit of time, but it's not an improvement. So
we're getting into that critical time now of when people come out and trying to feed themselves into the track without any traffic.
exactly, we have 1.5 minutes almost, a little bit under 2 minutes remaining. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can improve. We could have a surprise somewhere. Looking at the Rico and Borotovsky, both on a big improvement so far. So let's take a look at Rico, who's coming up to the line. A big improvement that could put him, I don't know, in the top 15, and it is 19th place. So yeah, not a bad lap from him. Almost 2 seconds off Sander Callas. And where do we have Borotovsky? Oh, he lost time in the second sector, so there won't be an improvement. We also have Halpap coming up to the line. Big improvement, and puts himself up into 18th place. Actually the same exact time as Araneda, so wow. Very good showing from them. And I saw something happening in the...
Well, that's De Angelis' run done. He's up into 3rd now for the moment.
Yeah, exactly. He's now into 3rd position. He improved by around, I don't know, 2/10 or something like that. So let's see who is on a hot lap. Also Victor Ivanov. He has Danny van der Niet ahead of him. Not a bad final chicane. Coming up to the line. Can he improve? No. So he's staying 5th for the moment. You also have Sergi Eras on a good lap. Oh, and Danny van der Niet. Oh, he actually finished the lap. So there was an improvement for him by 2/10.
Callas has had a bit of a bad run there onto the onto the start straight. He's lost a lot of time out of that, and I don't think he'll be able to improve his lap time unless he does something spectacular.
Alves made a mistake on his final lap time. That is a big shame for him. And De Volt now up into 5th place. Wow.
That's a great lap time. Only 2/10 off the lead.
Indeed. And I'm looking at Lucas Schmidt. Doesn't look like an improvement just yet. Everybody else from the top 10 in the pits, except for Sander Callas and Felix van Dove. So Felix van Dove will be the first. He could actually snatch pole position of Sander Callas, because right now it would be enough by 0.02 of a second for him to take pole position. But you know, Callas is on improvement as well by 300ths of a second. It's going to be very close between these two drivers. Felix van Delft now needs a very good exit. Not the best one, actually. It's going to be very hard for him now to get the pole position. Can he do it? Yes, he can, by 400ths of a second. Let's see what Sander Callas can do now. Coming up to the line. Can he snatch the pole position from Felix van Delft? Yes, he can.
He does.
13.9. An exceptional lap time from Sander Callas. 1.5 tenths ahead of everybody else, and the only driver to get into 1:13. So very, very impressive from him.
What a spectacular end to qualifying.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very impressive. So the top 10 are Sander Callas taking the pole position here for the 5th round of the Formula SimRacing ACE Championship. Second on the first row. He will be joined by Felix van Delft. Then on the second row we have Ernesto de Angelis and Lucas Alves. Third row will belong to De Nel and Victor Ivanov. Fourth row to Luke Maguire and Sergi Eras, and Danny van der Niet with Lucas Schmidt rounding out the top 10. The whole field is in 4 seconds, so it's a little bit of a bigger gap between the drivers. Also the top 10 separated by 1 second. Usually it's much closer, but you know, with these conditions, you know, you can't really expect very, very close lap times, even though there are some very close, very little differences between certain drivers. Overall, the gap is pretty big throughout the whole field. Anyway, so that is the top 10. We have warm-up coming up, and yeah, we've got, I think, a few things to talk about. Not only, I think, strategy and stuff like that, but also, you know, it's going to be hard to overtake if the drivers. It's going to be interesting if the drivers are going to choose dry tires on the intermediate, because you know half of the grid is going to start on the wet side of the track. So you know it's going to be quite tough for them. You know,
it's going to be a chaotic start, I think, especially for those on the wet side of the track.
Exactly, and with the small dry line, you know, being on the dry tires, the first lap is going to be quite hectic because you know they're all not going to fit on the dry line.
It's going to have to be a real case of keeping your head down, keeping yourself out of trouble, and just trying to get through that first lap, because that's where the real chaos is going to come into it.
Exactly, and it's going to be hard to overtake, you know, because like I said, if you put the car 1 centimeter off, you're off.
That's it, and you lose quite a lot of time as well. It's such a difficult track to overtake when it's wet like this.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough in the pits as well, because you know the pits, they're, you know, not many cars are driving there, so it's gonna be pretty wet there, and you know, braking into the pit lane, it's gonna be very tricky, you know, to not overshoot it or something.
Yeah,
you know, so.
Yeah. There's a lot of pitfalls that can affect the driver's race in such a big way that it's just so hard to predict. That we're really, until we start seeing maybe midpoint of the race, that we might be then able to start predicting things. But then of course we have a 15% chance of rain throughout the race, so that could just throw a spanner into the work at any moment.
Exactly, like you said. You know, if the rain is not going to come, you know, we heard that there is a 15% chance of rain. It's not much, but it was like that before this race anyway, and it rained. So, you know, we could potentially see some rain, but if we don't, generally Canada is a track that is normally not really harsh on the tires. So, you know, we could potentially maybe even see a 1-stop from somebody, but I don't think it's going to be like something we're going to see often in the race. I think it's going to be usually the 2-stop like it always is. We'll see. We could have some surprises. And also coming out of the pits, you know, of course there is a little bit of a dry line there, but still, you know, it's going to be, you know, very interesting. Going to be interesting to see if somebody crosses the white line on the exit. So.
And that's going to be particularly difficult as well, because you've got this natural instinct to try and hug that inside line as you're going through a turn, but you're really fighting against that instinct coming out of the pits on this straight.
Yeah. Exactly. So we have the warm-up. We talked about the strategy. We talked about the weather and the conditions. So yeah, I think we're going to take a big break. And we're going to be back in a few minutes.
Ouch.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox
Doing my
One.
James Allen.
Whoa! I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah, I play first. Yeah.
No, I'll race it for it.
So I have
So we are back in the warm-up session after a little commercial break there. So, Adam Maguire, currently the fastest driver on the track. I need to say that we had 3 drivers with a penalty. And just take a look and see what exactly that is. Take a look. Yeah, for Stoyan Barburkov it is a start from pits, and we also have a penalty for, I think, George Shatsipansalis and Adam Maguire, probably starting from the back of the grid, if I'm not mistaken. And Adam Maguire currently the fastest on track, so we could see some, could see from him, to fight or back, going forward in the race, maybe in the top 10 or something. We'll see. Yeah.
And sort of
We've got.
we were on a somewhat of a prophetic run there earlier when we talked about problems with people trying to overtake on the wets during the warm-up there during the commercial break. A huge accident when we saw people trying to overtake people around on the wet side of the track. So let's hope we can avoid that during the race.
Yeah, I also watched Christopher Raby. He tried, coming into the pits, and he tried the pit lane entry, and as he braked, the car slipped and he hit the wall because the track there, the line there, is completely wet, and he hit the wall. So that's gonna be very, very interesting to see. And yeah, overall I think it's going to be a very interesting race.
So from a strategy point of view, what are you expecting to see from them?
Yeah, like I've said, I think we will expect a two-stop, like we have seen pretty much every race that was not wet. We've had quite a lot of those this year. Yeah, like I said, a two-stop probably, maybe a one-stop from somebody. If somebody is confident with the tire wear, because like I said, Canada is usually not a harsh track on the tires. It's actually one of the tracks that is easiest, so to say, on the tires. So yeah, they can last quite a few laps, both options and primes. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what everybody chooses, and yeah, we'll see if it somehow changes the order in the race, and if it changes something in the race, we'll see. So we've got 1.5 minutes remaining, the start of the race.
I'm not sure if it's just me or not, but it seems to have gotten a little bit more cloudy than it was during the qualifying.
Yeah, it changes every now and then. Sometimes it's a little bit sunnier, sometimes there's a bit of a more clouds, but like you said, yeah, I agree, it's a bit more cloudy there, so maybe we could potentially see some rain in the race, because like we have said many times, there is still a 15% chance of rain, and Lucas Alves now going into the pits quite nicely there, a little bit, outbraked himself a little bit, but just enough, it was just enough to brake for the pit lane line there. Overall, not a really good showing from the ACR guys. The top guy there is Lucas Schmidt, and he is in 10th place. So we'll see what they can do in the race, because they usually have the pace. We'll see what they can do. Maybe trying an alternate strategy, starting on the primes. We'll see what they have up their sleeve. So Sander Callas, starting from pole position, he is also our championship leader with 58 points. He's 12 points ahead of Lucas Alves. Sergi Eras is there in third with 42 points, 16 points behind Sander Callas. Then we also have Felix van Daft and Felipe Giro rounding out the top 5. So far Sander Callas pretty dominant this year, like Michi Hoyer was last year. But yeah, it's still only the start of the season. There's many races to go in this championship, and a lot of stuff can happen.
I think a lot of the teams are still trying to understand a lot of the setups for the cars as well, because there's quite a difference between setup to setup between the races. So we might see that during the latter half of the season, we might see some of the teams that aren't doing so well now become a little bit more stronger, or a little bit more to the same level as the others.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's a new car, so you basically start from zero. Everybody starts from zero, and you have to learn everything again. Obviously, the setups are similar, but in every car, there are still slight differences, and you need to really understand, what does what and what works, what not. So obviously the teams are still learning the setups, still improving, and so we'll see what will happen throughout the season. But still, so far, Adam McGuire the quickest on track. Ivanov was second in the warm-up, and Sander Callas third. So I have to say, Victor Ivanov, very, very impressive showing from him so far.
And definitely, he had a very good showing in the qualifying as well, so I'll be eager to watch him during the race.
Yeah, definitely one of the surprises, as well as the Wout Nel. Very surprising, qualifying from both of these guys. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they can keep that up in the race, because obviously, both. It's a big difference between qualifying and the race. someone might be strong in the qualifying, but they might not have the consistency, or the mental strength, to do good in the race. So we'll see what these two can do in the race. And like I have said, Shatsipanselis, Barbukov, and Maguire will be starting from the pits. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do. And also Arif Roslan has decided by himself to start from the pits. Maybe a good choice as well,
Certainly for this first lap, I wouldn't want to be, especially further down the field. It's not something that I would be eager of taking that first corner.
Yeah, definitely. It's not something that you want, especially being in the middle of the grid. It's always quite dangerous there, and especially in these conditions, it's going to be quite tough, to not get hit by someone or to hit someone.
Yeah.
So
even before the first turn this time, there's a serious risk of collision with other people. So it's,
yeah, and we could see, the drivers, that will be starting on the wrong side on the grid. They're going to be praying that they don't, fall behind by quite a lot of positions.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be much more tricky, to get the power down, while the drivers on the dry line, it will be much easier for them. So we could see some changes in the order in the first couple of laps.
Very quickly, yeah.
Indeed. So
I can guarantee you there'll be at least some of the drivers on the grid now who'll be wanting to do a maneuver similar to what Vettel did and move somewhat over on the track so that they're out of their pit box.
Yeah. So okay, here we go. The race should start in a few seconds or a minute or so. So, yeah. We're now waiting for the start of the race.
And consistency is going to be a lot more important during these kind of weather conditions as well, because you need to be able to keep it online. And if you don't, you will be punished so badly. It's almost like touching the grass on a normal track when the track is in these kind of wet conditions.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be it's going to be difficult for the drivers, because drivers are used to using the whole width of the track. They can't right now because it's wet there, on the outside. So normally they're used to using the whole track, but now they have one simple line they have to take, and if they don't have the consistency there, they're going to make mistakes, and they could potentially even DNF if the mistake is bad enough, because they're just going to slide into the wall or something, or into somebody. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. I think it's going to really show who's very good in these certain conditions, in the tricky conditions, in unknown conditions, so to say. Going to be very interesting.
It sorts the men from the boys, as they say.
Indeed. And here we go. The formation lap is gonna start in about 30 seconds. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the drivers to line on the grid and start the formation lap. So, Ian, do you mind taking us through the grid?
Sure. So, in first place, we have Sander Callas. In second place, we have Phoenix van Delft. In third, we have Ernesto De Angelis. In fourth, we have Lucas Alves. Coming up right behind him is Dwald Nell in a very impressive fifth place. Sixth place goes to Victor Ivanov. In seventh, we have Luke Maguire. Eighth place, then, is Sergio Harris. Ninth place is Danny van der Eer. In 10th we have Lucas Smith. 11th behind him, Lucas Shore. In 12th we have Cody Blanton. 13th we have Yas Arananda. 14th even we have Christopher Ravy, with just behind him Tom Satherton. In 16th we have Cheyenne Najam. In 17th Felipe Giro. 18th Andrei Baratovsky. In 19th, we have Jean-Pierre Halep. In 20th, we have Jared van der Veer. Apologies on the pronunciation.
Very hard there.
Indeed. In 21st, we have Ivan Rico, followed up behind him with Arif Raslan. In 23rd, we have Karol Basko. In 24th, we have Oscar Ortiz. Right behind him we have Ferran Gural, David Ibanez in 26th. Adam Maguire then with a penalty for the race is in 27th. Stoyer Barbakov then in 28th, and in 29th we have George. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I know I will ruin it.
Tatsy Panselis. So, yeah, the drivers are lining up on the grid, and let's see who's on the... So we have Cody Blanton in 12th place on the primes, Christopher Raby in 14th on the primes, Tom Sadlerly, Najam, Giro, Borotovsky, Halpap, Van der Weijt, maybe Rosland, then we have Bashko, we also have, that is Ortiz, and Barbukov on the prime tires, so it's going to be interesting what they can do as the drivers are lining up on the grid. And it's actually, the dry line is actually quite wide there, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's dried off quite substantially actually.
Indeed, so let's wait and see for the lights to come on. It's happening now. We have 3, we have 4, now we have 5 lights ahead of the drivers. And it's lights out, and away we go. Cedric Callas gets a beautiful start of the line, taking the lead, or keeping himself in the lead. Then we have contact between Felix van Deft and Lucas Alves. Lucas Alves losing a bit of his front wing. Oh, there's lots of contact. Oh, and Araneda in the wall. We also have Giro without the rear wing. He's out of the race. Oh god, a lot of crashes right away.
Oh my god,
as well.
Good lord, that is that's carnage. That is absolute carnage.
That is carnage indeed, and we have a lot of drivers in problems. Not Christopher Raby. Oh god, there's a lot of drivers. Najam, Ibanez, Blanton, Raby already out of this race. Sadlerly with a damaged car. Rosland with a damaged car. Barbukov with a damaged car. Lucas Schmidt with a damaged car. Oh, we have Araneda with a damaged car. Bashko with a damaged front wing. Alves with a damaged front wing. Van der Weijt with a damaged front wing. Also Borotovsky without the front wing. Van der Niet without the front wing. Rico without the front wing.
At this point, I think it's going to be quicker to list drivers who don't have damage at this point.
Indeed, a lot, like at least half of the field without the front wing, and already we have 7 retirements in the first lap.
And I expect there'll be a lot more as well. There'll be a lot of people who will be trying to size up whether or not they can drive with the damage to their suspension.
Indeed, so currently Santa Callas has a 2-second lead almost ahead of Ernesto De Angelis in second place, who had a very, very good start, and Felix van Delt, who was taken out by Lucas Alves there, who lost a part of his front wing, and we have De Volt now in 4th place.
We have so many drivers in the pits now at this point, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and also Maguire with the damaged suspension now in 6th place. Let's take a look at the drivers in the pits, even of coming out as the first driver. A lot of drivers choosing the prime tires, which is, understandable. I mean, a lot of drivers there.
That is an unbelievable start to this race.
Indeed, I didn't expect that. That the dry line was quite wide there, so I was like, okay, the start is not going to be that bad. But in the end, I mean, 7 retirements and half of the field in the pits. I mean, ooh, yeah.
It's quite a huge gap opening up already in certain sections of the field. Yeah,
and now Araneda has retired as well. Probably too much damage on the suspension. And taking a look, 3 ACR guys out of the race. Wow. 2 Go Speed cars out of the race. That is quite a lot.
There'll be a lot of... I wasn't even sure who it was who began that incident or how it began even.
Indeed, and Felix van Delt has put himself up into second place ahead of Ernesto De Angelis, the 2002 champion. And now Felix van Delt is going to try and close the gap to Santa Callas. The gap is almost 3 seconds after only 2 laps in this race. And Cheyenne Najam already out of this race as well. Yeah, he was actually the first retirement, but he has now left the server.
And there's 10 seconds between Sander Callas and Waldnell in 4th place, so it's quite a gap building up in several parts of the field.
Yeah, and we have quite a big gap between all the drivers as well. We now have Barbukov in the pits. We have also Alves still without a front wing. Well, he lost quite a quite a big bit on front wing. Oh god, that was really close to Tom Satterley there, and he has also Van der Weyt right behind him in the Deltec racing team. He has damaged suspension, and he is now actually letting Tom Satterley in the wall, and he is out of this race as well. So that is a third Go-Speed car out of this race, and that is more and more retirements.
That's a huge disappointment for the team there now.
That is indeed, and Felix van Dijk actually closing the gap to Sander Callas, the gap under 2 seconds now. Felix van Dijk, the fastest lap of the race, 1:14.9.
And Van Delft has actually closed the gap right up to Senator Candace there now.
Yeah, indeed. And so yeah, the gap under 2 seconds now. Probably Sander made a little bit of a mistake there, and yeah, that is interesting. Every driver has retired due to suspension damage. Every driver, I'm not looking, has as a reason for the retirement. Everybody has suspension. Wow. And we have a lot more drivers on the grid that have suspension damage and are still racing. So
that's very true, and that's my hat goes off to any driver who's able to maintain suspension damage like they may be suffering out there today, because it's such a demoralizing thing that you have to put up with throughout the whole race, especially when it happens so early in the race like this.
Especially if you practice quite a lot.
Yeah,
no, that's even better.
These guys have put in thousands of hours of practice combined, and to have it all go down the drain like that on the first lap, it's such a sad thing to see.
Indeed it is. So I'm just gonna open the chat here, see if any questions or something pops up. So Sander Callas still a 2-second lead to Felix van Delft. Ernesto De Angelis 2 seconds behind Felix van Delft. And we have De Wolf now alone in 4th, and Christopher Schur, who makes a mistake into the hairpin. Not losing too much time though, only a second. Well, only a second. Every second is very important here, especially in a big competition like FSR. So let's take a look if we have a close gap somewhere.
At the
Adam
moment,
McGuire.
yeah.
Adam McGuire, who has started from the pits, already in 10th place. And he has suspension damage as well. And he started from the pits, so wow.
Yeah, it was quite a long time after the incident first began that the end of the incident actually finished. But Adam must have had some sort of collection of that.
Alves spinning into the wall in, is it turn 4? He lost his front wing again.
Oh dear. It's a good day to have shares in the carbon fiber industry.
Van der Weyt spinning as well in turn 2. Jesus Christ.
So at the moment, I believe the closest battle on track is between Ortez and Adam McGuire for 9th and 10th place.
Indeed it is.
And then the other McGuire then with Christoph Schur is only 1 second behind him. So they're, at the moment, the two closest battles on track.
Yeah, so let's now concentrate on Ortiz and McGuire fighting for 9th place. Ortiz on the prime tires, McGuire on the option, so of course he is faster now. And look at that, how much grip he has, and how much more confident he is.
He is all over the back of him, and I wouldn't be surprised for him to make a move now coming into the final chicane. Yeah,
usually the Go-Speed car has quite a lot of speed, but that's not the case this time around. Ooh. They don't have enough confidence there. The dry line tightens a little bit coming to the chicane, so not much room there for Adam McGuire.
Well, we're coming into the first turn.
1 and gets it done. Very nice.
Nicely done. Very nice.
That was very, I don't want to say like aggressive, but it was very, very confident from Adam McGuire. He made it stick, so good for him. Up into 9th place and chasing down Grau in 8th.
It won't be too long before he'll be on the back of Grau as well. He's only 2 seconds behind him at the moment.
Indeed. We now have Rico and Danny van der Niet for 14th place. Gonna be interesting battle as well. It's the same story. Rico is on the primes and Danny van der Niet on the options behind him. Let's take a look and see what these drivers can do.
He's all over the back of them as well.
Crashing noises. What's happened now? I don't see anything at the moment. Oh, more crashing noises. I don't see anything, so...
So
seems
Vasco
fine.
apparently was the one who was involved with that.
Oh, that is a... No! Adam Maguire tried it around the outside, but span on the wet line, and he has taken Grau with him, and Grau lost positions and probably sustained some suspension damage as well. He's down to 11th, while Adam Maguire happily up into 8th.
And I'm sure that won't be the way he will have wanted to have achieved that position, but however, he's made it down.
Yeah, he tried it around the outside in turn 1. He made it stick, but then span on the wet line coming into turn 2, and yeah.
It's like we say...
Yeah, he was a passenger then.
Once you step off of that dry line, especially when you're on these slick tires, it's just there's nothing there for you.
Yeah, Lucas Alves out of this race. So that is a big shame for him, and it is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 drivers out of this race after 8 laps.
Wow.
And we have 19 drivers on the grid now.
3 of which have already been lapped at this point in the early stages of it.
So Sander Callas now has the fastest lap of the race, 1:14.8, which is 1/10 faster than Felix van Delft. Sander Callas stepped his game up a little bit. He is now 4.5 seconds almost ahead of Felix van Delft. So the gap is increasing. Again, Sander Callas showing his dominance here in the ACE Championship. I hear more crashing noises, please. What is that? Was it Bashko? Oh, he was letting the Volt now by. Don't see anything at the moment, but yeah.
So that was Harris apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, he's missing a front wing.
Yeah, he lost his front wing. So let's take a look what happened to him. Ooh, in the second chicane there. Oh yeah, missed his braking point, went onto the wet line and span right into the wall, lost his front wing, has to go into the pits, which is a big shame because he was in the top 10, so big shame for him. Okay, let's see where he is gonna come out then. Otherwise, there is no battle on the track. Bortowski now went a little bit wide, made a mistake there. Now he has to let, who is that? That is, I think, Felix van Delft. He has to let him through. Is that Felix van Delft?
Yes, that is.
Yeah. So otherwise, no real battles on the track. So let's take a look at Sergi Eras, where he is going to come out. So he's fitting the prime tires. He's probably not going to get him to the end.
No, I would be very surprised if he can make that last until the end.
Indeed, so gets a new front wing. He's going to be very happy about that, but he's not going to be happy about losing all those positions. Now he has Viktor Ivanov right there. It is his teammate. It's going to be interesting who's going to come out on top, and it is Viktor Ivanov, so you can expect a fight between these two, because Sergi Eras is on a 9 laps, fresh tires. So let's see if he can get by him. Since they're teammates, I don't think they're going to battle too hard.
One would hope not.
Yeah, you don't want to take out your teammate.
No, and we've seen a bit of that in flag to flag in the pro season, unfortunately.
Yeah. Indeed. So let's concentrate on Eras and Ivanov. It's the closest gap on the grid right now. Gap is 1.2 seconds. Sergi Eras could have potentially more fuel on board.
This is true. He could be planning to go a lot longer, and if that is the case, he has 1 or 2 laps to be able to try and keep up with them.
Yeah, and both have suspension damage. Ivanov a little bit on the right side, and Eras on the left side. But it's nothing major, it's only a little suspension damage.
He doesn't seem to be able to keep up with Victor, so I expect that he does have quite a heavier fuel load on board.
Yeah, and the gap between Callas and Felix van Dijk has stabilized a little bit. Gap now actually down to 4 seconds, so Felix has found a little bit of time again, trying to close the gap now, trying to, you know, answer Callas' space. We'll see how that's going to develop.
Callas does have to deal with the traffic first, of course, so he'll have to kind of wake them up and have them move aside for him. And then Felix may be able to close that gap just a little bit because they're a little bit more aware that he's coming up behind them.
Yeah, and now the closest gap has been taken over by Helpap and Ortiz, fighting for 8th place, both on prime tires. The gap only 1 second, so it is the VB Metcape and the F1 champs fighting for 8th place. So let's take a look and see what these drivers can do. If Helpap is going to be able to close the gap enough to try and overtake Ortiz. And the gap between Ivanov and Eras increasing just slightly now. It's over 2 seconds, so Ivanov definitely has the pace now. Could also have less fuel on board. Oh, crashing noises again. What is that?
Van Delft is definitely getting into a bit of a groove at the moment. He's brought the gap down now to 3.7 seconds.
Indeed, so the gap is going down. He has, I think, Van der Weyt right ahead of him. Thought it was the Volt now, but he is in 4th place. So it is his teammate Van der Weyt. Pretty sure he's not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna be a big. Oh god! He went over a piece of a car there, a piece of front wing, and that was interesting. Now the piece of the front wing is on the racing line, so it's gonna be interesting. Now the gap has increased a little bit to Callas again, 4 seconds. So again, we'll see how that develops. Helpap so far not being able to close the gap to Ortiz. It stays the same around 1.2 seconds. The gap between Ivanov and Eras still increasing. It's 2.8 seconds now. And yeah, nothing else happening so far. We have 13 laps completed right about now. Seneca is almost setting a new fastest lap there. Only missed out by 1/10 of a second. So yeah, pretty I have to say
it's pretty stable at the moment.
Yeah, pretty stable and also pretty consistent from Sander Callas. Felix van Dijk was 0.6 slower that lap. The gap again over 4 seconds. And actually Ernesto De Angelis has closed the gap now to 2.5 seconds to Felix van Dijk. It's going to be an interesting to see. And Christoph Schur seems to be closing the gap just a little bit to Volt Nel, right ahead of him in 4th place. And Danny van der Niet is now closing the gap to Sergi Eras. It's under 1 second now, and Sergi Eras seems to be struggling because the gap to his teammate Viktor Ivanov is now almost 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's he must be having quite a heavy fuel load on him there, and maybe hoping to bring him through any potential rain that could be on the way, because we do have a 15% chance of rain at this point.
Yeah.
So Jerez and Victor are both very high on fuel, and they have damage as well, so that's something to take into consideration.
Yeah, indeed. We I said that they have, Ivanov has the damage on the right hand side, and Eras on the left hand side. And, yeah, that's gonna be actually Danny van der Niet putting him under big pressure, and I don't think he's fighting too much.
No,
because yeah, he just let him through, and now he has to let the leader through as well. Oh, hitting the wall, giving it a little bit of a nudge there.
I wonder, perhaps did he think that he was actually letting the leader through there, perhaps, or was it just that he felt that it was not worth his time trying to defend that position?
Yeah, maybe what he tries to do now is that he lets the leader first, and then when Danny van der Niet has to let the leader through, he could attack again, but that's not the case.
No, he doesn't have anywhere near the closeness to him to be able to pull something like that off.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if Danny van der Niet can now close the gap to Victor Ivanov. Obviously, Danny van der Niet on lower fuel and softer tire compound. And now the gap between Ortiz and Halpap, fight for 8th place, is down under 1 second, 8/10 currently. And the gap between Skoor and De Voldnel increasing a little bit, 2.5 seconds now. And yeah, the gap stabilized currently between Callas and Van Delft, 4 seconds, but Ernesto De Angelis is still closing the gap, not only to Felix Van Delft, but also to Sander Callas.
Yeah, it's quite a good run. Let's see if he can keep that up, or whether this is just a short field run, perhaps. Could he be maybe trying to go for a 2-stop, maybe? Or, sorry, a 3-stop even.
Could be. We'll see. Oh, there is a car on track. I think. Who is it? He is just stopped there. Oh, it is a... Oh, who was it? Let me see.
Oh, it's Berbatov.
Bordowski.
Berbatovski's out.
Yeah, Bordowski's out of the race. Oh, he lost his rear wing there. Oh, let's take a look what happened. Oh, yeah. Oh, he had Van der Waait ahead of him. Yeah, he hit the back of him. Oh, God, and it sent him flying into the wall. He lost his rear wing there. And also, it gave Van der Waait a lot of damage there as well on the suspension. And he lost 3 places as well there, so not what he wants. Oh, he already had suspension damage there, but he got hit by him and went flying.
We have an interesting battle developing on track at the moment between the 2 highest running prime tyre runners of Oscar Ortiz and Jean-Pierre Halpap.
Indeed, 7/10 the difference between these two, and also Roslan and Grau right behind them, only 8/10 there. Yeah, only 2 battles on the track now. We've got 18 runners in this race remaining, so let's take a look at Halpap and Ross. No, it's not Roslan, Ortiz. Roslan is behind them, 15 seconds behind them to be exact. And Grau now losing a little bit of time to him, but so let's concentrate on the fight for 8th place right now. He's gonna have a little bit of a slipstream, you know, on the straight, so we're gonna see how good the top speed is. And actually, Halpap much more confident on the brakes, closed down quite a lot there by 2/3. Had a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the hairpin, so that's not gonna help him. Lost a 10th. So let's see the top speed. Top speed with Ortiz is 325. I didn't really see the top speed of Halpap. I'm gonna take a look from the replay there really quickly. The top speed was pretty much the same, a little bit better. But he also had a little bit of a slipstream, so I would say that the top speed is very similar there. So it's going to be quite hard to overtake.
So it does seem that Halpap has a lot more confidence in the car through the turns, because he had a decent gap at the end of the straight, but now at this point he's right back on him again. Oh, but a mistake there from Halpap.
Yeah, indeed. Lost. He made a mistake in the same corner as Bortowski has done. It's the it is turn 5, I think it is. Oh yeah, he braked too late, and luckily for him, it's not wet so much there on the outside, so he managed to rejoin the track just fine, losing like a second or something. So
this is a particularly good run for Ortiz as well. This would represent his best result of the season if he can maintain it.
Indeed. And Grau's still losing time to Roslan, even though Roslan is on the prime tires. It's interesting to see. Danny van der Niet still closing the gap to Victor Ivanov. I think we could see a battle there. And I also think that Danny van der Niet has Felix van Delft right behind him. And he is letting him pass right now. It is indeed Felix van Dort. So, obviously lost a little bit of time now, 2.5 seconds to Viktor Ivanov, but Viktor Ivanov is going to have to let Felix pass as well, so he's going to lose time as well as did Danny van der Rijt just now. And also Danny van der Rijt on the option tires while Ivanov on the prime tires, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And now Help Up actually again closing the gap to Ortiz. Probably Ortiz either made a mistake or Help Up just had a very impressive couple of laps or a lap or two to close the gap again. He's actually very close now. This could be a battle coming into the chicane there. 4 turns between them. I don't think he's close enough, but he could maybe try something into turn 1.
Yeah, similar to the move that Maguire made.
Yeah, quite a short 7 here, so he doesn't gain much from the slipstream there. Not the best exit. Both guys have found their weight right ahead of him, who has big suspension damage. Right now in the 18th, currently last place. 2 guys very, very close to each other there.
Oh, and we have Grau in the pits.
Do we? Indeed.
And also Sander Callis as well.
Okay, good. So we've got the first pit stops right now. And Sander Callas continuing on the options. Oh, he's definitely going for a 2-stop at least. So Felix van Dort now takes the lead in this race. Ernesto De Angelis quite close to him, I have to say. Now Viktor Ivanov makes a mistake, and he has Danny van der Rijt right behind him. Let's take a look at that. Oh, Danny van der Rijt! Oh, jeez, nearly clipped the back of Viktor Ivanov. I think there was a little touch there, but nothing major. That's certainly not going to help Danny van der Rijt's tires.
Not at all.
Yeah, he locked up his both front tires. Not going to help him at all. And they also have... who is that? It is Ernesto De Angelis. That's not helping him because he's losing time to Felix van Dort. Gap almost 4 seconds, so he lost like 1.5 seconds almost.
Yeah.
And this is playing into Sander Callis' hands because he has a relatively clean track ahead of him.
Yeah, he's got Dewald now only a couple of seconds ahead of him, but with those fresh tyres, he should be able to make very light work of him.
Indeed, indeed. And Felix van Dort still staying out, as is Ernesto De Angelis. Danny van der Rijt has led, Ernesto passed, and now Viktor Ivanov is doing the same. And this could be an opportunity for Danny van der Rijt as De Wolf now comes into the pits. Oh, look, Maguire nearly spun at the chicane there.
Good news for Sander Callis is that Dewald Nell has stopped on this lap as well.
Yeah, De Wolf now in the pits, like I said, and he's taking the option time as well, so on a 2-stop, just like Sander Callis. It could be interesting, maybe Felix van Dort and Ernesto De Angelis opting for a 1-stop there.
That'd be an interesting and brave move.
Yeah, and it actually could win the race for Felix van Dort. We'll see. Because obviously Callis has to go for the prime tires as well as do these two. It's going to be interesting to see if the tires can last that long. And Danny van der Rijt is now already ahead of Viktor Ivanov. Didn't see that overtake, but it happened, and Danny van der Rijt up into 11th place. We also have a fight coming up, probably between Rico and Grau, and Grau has lost already, I think, at the start of the race, both his front wing end plates, so that's certainly not going to help him in the corners, will it? And look at that, Rico taking that into his advantage, and he being very, very close to Grau now. And try and overtake in turn 1. No, doesn't have the confidence on the braking there.
You get the feeling, though, that within the next lap or so that he will get that opportunity.
Indeed, Grau is struggling with the damage he has compared to his teammate. Now this is interesting. Sander Callis is actually not closing the gap to Felix van Dort. He's closing the gap to Ernesto De Angelis, but not to Felix van Dort.
That's very interesting. Now,
And
if Van Delft can maintain this kind of pace and not degrade his tyres too much, a one-stop strategy is entirely possible.
Indeed, but it's, you know, he needs fuel, you know, to be able to go to the end as well, or at least, you know, to go a bit further in the first stint. And Ernesto De Angelis, as I said, that coming into the pits, Santa Callas has Sergio Eras right ahead of him, and Ernesto De Angelis opting for the prime tires, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Christoph Schauer in the pits as well.
Indeed, and Santa Callas having a huge lead over Ernesto De Angelis there, almost 10 seconds, if not more than 10 seconds.
Oh, Luke Maguire has spun on the pit entrance.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. Let's take a look at that. Oh, he already had, no, that was actually a bug in the replay. I thought he had big suspension damage. Yeah, oh yeah, he spun under braking on the wet part there. I said in the warm-up that it's going to be very, very wet there. It's going to be very tricky, and it caught, you know, Luke Maguire there, and he's in the pits repairing the damage and going for the option tires again. And also we had, I think, Adam Maguire in the pits as well. I'm not too sure. Yeah, he was in the pits. He's going for the options as well.
We have Oscar Ortez in the pits as well.
So Ortiz in the pits, coming out in 10th place, just ahead of Danny van der Niet, who still has to do his first pit stop, or at least schedule one. Oh, and Luke Maguire, probably out of this race.
Yeah,
he is indeed.
that's very unfortunate.
And he just stopped the car there. That is interesting. Wow. Don't know why.
It seems he did have some suspension damage, but I don't know if that was the ultimate cause or whether that was something that he'd gotten from earlier on in the race.
Yeah. We don't know, but yeah, definitely not good for him, because he was running in 6th place, I think. So yeah, that is a big, big shame for him. And Maguire now up to 6th place, so replacing his brother there in 6th position. And Felix van Dijk was in the pits. I don't know, he's on the prime tires as well. He's some almost 6 seconds behind Santa Callas, and Ernesto De Angelis lost quite a lot of time. He's almost 7 seconds behind Felix van Delft. And the Wald Nel there on the option tires is closing the gap to Ernesto De Angelis. And Ortiz in the pits, and oh, he has
It's a second stop in a row for him.
Yeah, he had a stop and go penalty there. Speeding in the pits, so that is very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, it is. He was having an absolutely stormer of a race for him.
Indeed, he wasn't running in top 10 there, so in 8th place, so that's definitely not going good for him, and he's going to come out in 14th place, so yeah, he's going to have to do, you know, quite a lot of work to get himself back into top 10. So quite big gaps between drivers right now.
Yeah, it's really starting to settle down now.
Yeah, the only battle right now we have between Rico and Grau for 12th place, the teammates, and also the gap between Barbukov and Bashko quite close, 1.5 seconds, so there could be potentially a battle later on for 15th place. And now we have 17 drivers on the grid. Thunderweight in last place, 1 lap down on everybody else. So, not a very good race for him, and he has a big damage, big suspension damage there as well, so not going good for him.
It's a lot of suspension damage. He has to put a lot of lock into that to be able to keep it straight.
Indeed, and Grau has now lost time to Rico because he was letting the Wald now past.
And Senator Callas is actually pulling out quite a gap again now to Felix van Delft. The gap is up to 7 seconds.
He is, because Santa Callas is on the option tires.
Oh, good
Felix
spot.
van Delft is on the primes.
So a nice strategy battle we've got going here.
Yeah, I'll take a look at his lap times. And it doesn't look like he is on a one-stop strategy. Looking at the lap, I think he's on a two-stop as well. But, you know, he's gonna have an advantage later on, because when Callas pits, of course he's gonna have fresher primes than Felix. But since this track is so easy on the tires, you know, it's not really gonna matter, because the primes will only get faster and faster with less fuel. So Felix will have much less fuel than Sander Callas, so he's gonna be quicker when Callas pits. And he's also gonna be much quicker when he's on the options, and Callas is on the primes.
It's going to make for a very interesting battle.
Yeah, I think we could have something interesting going on at the final stages of the race between these two, because the gap is, of course, you know, increasing, but it's not increasing that much.
No, it's not increasing what you would expect between the two tire compounds.
Indeed, and Rico in the pits. He's gonna try and undercut on his teammate, and he's coming out in 16th place behind Bashko, who is now almost 3.5 seconds behind Barbukov, and I think Bashko is gonna pit soon as well, so I don't think we're going to see a battle there anytime soon. Well, saying the gap is not increasing quickly, it actually is, because the gap is now almost 9 seconds, so it's actually what you would expect. The wall now still closing the gap to Ernesto De Angelis, the gap almost 6 seconds now.
Very impressive show from Dwaldnell today.
Indeed, and Roslan is now letting the race leader past. So, basically, that's very impressive, because Callas is now lapping the guys in the top 10.
Yeah.
And we have some 30 laps, almost 30 laps in this race done. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he'll be overtaking Viktor Ainov as well very quickly as well. So we've got the top 7 are the only ones that will be on the lead lap.
Barbukov on Ortiz, fight for 13th place, and Barbukov gets it done. Outbreaks himself a little bit. And now he has to let Adam Maguire pass, so does Barbukov. It's interesting to see, because Barbukov is on the primes while Ortiz is on the option, and still Barbukov gets past.
Oscar Ortiz is also closing up on the back of Barbukov as well, but he has to deal with the back marker in between him.
Yeah, Bashko was into pace as well. I think he started on the primes, and he has now gone for the options. He's currently in 16th place, pretty alone, because Van der Waait behind him in the last place is 1 lap behind, and the Rico ahead of him is 16 seconds ahead.
So Sander Callas is really pushing it now. The gap is up to 10 seconds. And that's what he needs to do to be able to secure this win.
Indeed. And De Wolf now still closing the gap to Ernesto De Angelis. It's 4.5 seconds now. He's getting quite a lot of time. He's also getting held a little bit by back markers there. But De Wolf now is going to have to go through the same pain as well. And I think we have a confirmation for Luke McGuire that thanks to the damage he had coming into the pits, it stopped him being able to put fuel in the car. So he was basically out of fuel and couldn't make it into the pits, so he had to retire from the race. Which is what I actually thought could be a possibility there, but, you know, didn't think really that it could be actually that, but it is. So, you know, thanks to fuel problem, he is out of the race.
That's a real shame.
Indeed. So Ivanov and Roslan fighting for 8th place. Roslan on the options and Ivanov on the prime tires.
And what we've seen as well is that it's not so much down the back straight where the overtakes are taking place, but rather on the entrance to a lot of the turns, which is not something I was expecting, to be honest.
Indeed, indeed. Oh, and Roslan, oh, making a mistake, hitting the wall there, losing. I think he lost actually a wing end plate on the right hand side. Oh, crashing noises. Jesus, what is it now? As Halpap is in the pits.
Hopefully that was just somebody collecting what was left of the end plate, maybe.
Yeah, it actually could be just that, because I don't see anything going on, as Halpap is going to exit the pits, and I think he's going to be safe in 7th place. It actually could be quite close now, even if he's too far behind there. And I think Halpap actually has the race leader right behind him. So Santa Calas will now be overtaking 7th place. Wow.
That's so impressive. 31 laps into it, and the 7th place driver is about to be lapped.
Oh Jesus, that was really close there.
That was a very aggressive move.
Indeed. So Calas still increasing the gap, it's now 11 seconds. Felix van der increasing the gap to Ernesto De Angelis, 8.5 seconds, and the gap between Ernesto De Angelis and De Wolf now stabilizing. Oh, Ernesto De Angelis! Oh, what happened to him?
No.
Oh, let's take a look there. That is a big shame for the 2002 world champion. Oh, he spun on the curb, coming out of the second chicane, and he lost his rear ring. That means he's out of this race from 3rd place due to suspension as well. Every driver retiring due to suspension, at least according to the game, but we know that that's not entirely true. But still, it shows that all these drivers had suspension damage when they retired. And now we have only 16 drivers on the grid, so basically almost a half, you could say. That is a big shame for the Italian driver, if I'm not mistaken.
And that also means that everybody bar one driver is running in the points. Or at least they will be once the positions settle down after that.
Indeed, indeed. That is a big shame for Ernesto. He was doing very, very good. So now it means that De Volt now, surprisingly, in a podium position. That is, I think, is the biggest surprise right now.
I think he'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, he just now he just needs to, get it to the end, because we know the commentator's curse works really well. You say someone is doing good, and then he crashes right after that. So I'm not gonna say anything, and I'm just gonna do this so that it doesn't work. So Ivanov and Halpap fighting for 6th.
Adam Maguire is starting to close down on Christoph Schauer as well.
Well, this is interesting. Halpap was in the pits for flash options, but Ivanov is closing in on the prime tires. This is interesting. I think Halpap is struggling quite a lot.
Well, Halpap is also missing that front wing, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Or not the front wing, but the end plate, should I say.
Yeah. But still, he should be faster.
He may also be dealing with some suspension damage, I don't know.
Let's take a look if he's turning his wheel. I think he doesn't have actually. Ivanov has suspension damage, we know that. And Roslan is quite close behind him as well, so we have a three-way battle for 6th place. And also a fight for 9th place between Eras and Danny van der Niet.
That's a very close battle.
Oh, Ortiz and Rico for 12th place. Rico going down the inside into the chicane. That's going to be really close. Oh, almost contact.
Oh.
Both drivers going wide and cutting the chicane there as Van der Waait is in the pits. And Rico gets himself up into 12th place then. Bashko closing in quite rapidly as well.
So we have a few things heating up out there at the moment. Oh, and then we have a three-way battle now here with Viktor Ivanov, Arif Roslan, and yes, oh no, we've had a mistake there from Arif Roslan. He's spun a little bit there coming into turn 2.
Yeah, and now Eras and Danny van der Niet, they were quite close, but I don't think Danny van der Niet had the best exit. He's gonna go for it. Oh, a little bit of a dive bomb there, but still not making it stick there. Coming into turn 1, he's really close. Could have a much better exit now. He has, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Trying to overtake into the second chicane. It's very tricky here, especially the curb there, right there.
Ooh.
Yeah, hitting the wall there a little bit. I don't think he sustained any damage there, so luckily for him.
Oh, and Oscar Ortez has lost it big time.
Grau also a little bit of a mistake there.
So Vasco is really harrying right now.
Oh, and he has Ortiz right ahead of him, so wow.
That mistake from Ortez, and I think there may have been another driver involved with it. I only came on to the end of it.
Well, we'll see. We now have another battle on our hands then for 13th place.
Maguire up ahead has closed the gap to Christian Shore.
Oh, that was really close between Eras and Daddy underneath in the second corner. They were like millimeters away from each other. It's really close there. And Maguire still closing the gap to Shakur, while Helpap has finally started to increase the gap just a little bit. We could see a fight between Ivanov and Ruslan there. Oh, and Bashko has gone past Ortiz up into 13th place, but now Ortiz is going to have the slipstream coming into the final chicane.
He has
He's
little
having a
luck.
look. Indeed, oh, and braking much later than Bashko and gets back ahead, but now Bashko with a better exit. He's going to go for it down the inside, coming into the first corner. Across the line, there is a big rear wing from, I think it is one of the Invictus cars, and Bashko gets ahead of Ortiz, and probably now it was the final, you know, overtake for these two. Bashko easily ahead, but makes a mistake!
No!
Oh, just misses on the misses out the wall there. Wow, it was really close, but he lost a lot of time and also lost the position to Barbukov. Oh, if you can look, I mean, he has big flat spots on his both front tires.
He did a good job to actually keep himself in the race, though, I have to say. He's lost a lot of time, but at least he's still running.
Yeah, Bashko there, you know, touching the grass on the outside just a little bit by a centimeter or two, and that sent him, you know, losing all the grip and just sending him wide and almost into the barrier there, missing it, you know, by a meter, maybe even less. So, you know, he could call himself lucky there. He got past, but, you know, made that mistake, so really good to see. So
Victor,
what else do we have? Yeah, even
Victor, yeah, and Roslin both very close now, coming onto the back straight.
And also the gap between Shakur and Maguire now under 1 second, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
We have Christoph Schauer and Adam Maguire. The battle has been brewing for some time, and now Maguire is all over the back of him.
Yeah, exactly. So Ivanov still ahead of Ruslan now, so let's concentrate a little bit now on the fight for 4th place between these two.
And this back straight is really going to help Maguire close down that gap.
Shakur has a much better top speed than Maguire, like by 8 kilometers an hour. And Helpap again has lost time. Ruslan lost even more time. He probably was letting Felix van Delft pass, so he lost time there. But Helpap has lost quite a lot of time again. He gained a little bit of gap, or he made a little bit of gap to Ivanov, but now Ivanov closing in on him again.
Something else that's worth of note is that Sander Kallas has had the gap drop dramatically between him and Felix van Delft.
Indeed. He was over 10 seconds and now it's 9.5. What happened there? I'll take a look if he had a, like a massively slow lap.
We also have Ortez in the pits.
Oh, he's actually losing quite a lot of time to his personal best, almost a second slower each lap. Wow. Well, we know that Maguire and Shakur are on the same team. They're both Go Speed guys, but Maguire has a much lower top speed, probably due to the suspension damage, because since he's turning the wheel a little bit to the right, he's losing top speed. Thanks to that, it could be, could be pretty bad for Maguire. It's pretty hard for him to get past score there.
So now at this point, every car on the grid has been lapped up until 5th place. That is spectacular, and we're only at the halfway point.
Indeed, and now Callas again increasing the gap to Felix van Delft, 10.5 seconds. So he found his rhythm once again.
The gap between Adam Maguire and Christoph Schauer is again coming down. Still in and around that second range, but Adam is a little bit closer now. He probably won't have the top speed to be able to make this back straight work.
Because as you can see, Score is still pulling away, and he's pulling away massively from him. He's gaining like 2, almost 3 tenths on this straight. It's gonna be very, very difficult for him, and to get ahead, he needs to perform an undercut of some sort. But it's gonna be very difficult for him because he's gonna be slower on the prime tires than now Score is. It's gonna be very difficult for him to get ahead and up into 14th place. Both drivers, though, the gap quite stabilized between themselves and the Volt now, but it's coming down just a little bit.
Yeah, it's through sectors 1 and 2. Adam Maguire really closes the gap up, and he's right on the back of Christoph Schauer now. And then just into that third sector, he just seems to lose quite a lot of time.
Indeed, and I'm now looking Karel Paschke after his mistake.
Sander Callas is in the pit.
Okay, good. So let's take a look, and he's on the prime tires and going to the end. 30 laps to go. Easily doable. So it's gonna be interesting now if Felix van Delft can increase the gap to Sander Callas. The gap now 14 seconds. Oh, actually 12.5. Updated now. And this is gonna get interesting for 12th place between Rico, Barbukov and Bashko joining in as well. Barbukov really close to Rico, only 4 tenths. He could try and overtake. Closing in a little bit, but not much.
So Adam Maguire has hit the wall of champions there, and he lost a bit of time apparently.
Okay. Well, that's not good for him because he already has a big suspension damage, and now he's hit the wall.
And it's Ivanov and Roslan, and they've just had a little bit of contact there coming into the final turn.
Help up coming into the pits. I'm looking at the replay now. Roslan and Ivanov. Over. Oh, that was a big contact even. Oy, oy, oy.
A little bit of argy-bargy there, I think.
Indeed. Maguire still close to score, but not close enough. Again, doesn't have the top speed now. Helpap coming out of the pit in 10th place on prime tires, going to the end. I see Crow has a big suspension damage. And now fight between Bashko and Rico coming into the chicane, and Bashko gets the move down the inside into not the chicane but the hairpin there, and gets himself up into 13th place. Has Barbukov right ahead of him. Rico has lost 2 positions now.
He's right on the back of them now coming into the chicane. Has a little luck. No, nothing this time.
He was close but not close enough. Locking the right front there a little bit as well. And now Bashko is going to put Barbukov under pressure.
You have Grau on the pits
and
now
the
as well.
Helpap makes a mistake. Helpap makes a mistake at the end of the second sector. Missed the chicane there. Lost a little bit of time. And De Volt now in the pits.
So Adam Maguire is right on the back of Christoph Schorer now as well, and he's just coming out of the last turn. He's a lot closer than he is normally. Will this mean then that at some point in sectors 1 and 2 that he'll have an opportunity?
We'll see. Well, De Volt now comes out of the pit in 5th place with a big clean air. Lots of clean air, nobody around him basically. So he can just push till the end of the race. See what he can do. So Felix van Daf now in the lead, 14 seconds ahead of Callas. He increases the gap. Increased the gap by 1.7 seconds so far. So the gap is increasing, and it's going to be interesting to see by the end of the race, when Felix van Daf is on the option, he's going to be massively quicker. And he's already quicker now. That's going to put Callas a little bit under pressure, I think.
That's, I'm just checking to see what the lap times were to see if there was anything unusual.
Oh, help up! Lost his front
Oh,
wing, crashed,
no.
and he's out of the race. That is a big shame. He was running in the top 10.
And Grau's out as well.
Oh, Karel Bashko out of a race. He crashed now. Oh, he lost his front wing. He's continuing. But he lost his front wing. And he's done the same mistake once again.
Well,
Yeah, once again.
At this point, it makes sense for him to continue, because if he can finish this race, he will be in the points now.
Yeah,
no matter where
indeed.
he is.
He has a little bit of a... I don't think he has suspension damage, but he has lost his front wing, so he's going to have to come into the pits now. That is a big shame, because he's done the same mistake twice in like 10 laps, so that's not what you want to see. And Felix van Daf still increasing the gap. It's over 15 seconds now. So this is going to seriously put Callas under pressure. Felix could win this here.
He really could. I'm just looking at the lap times there for Sander Callas as well, just to see what there maybe have been a mistake or something like that, and it doesn't look so like that. It just seems to be that he's just a little bit slower on these tires.
Indeed, because of the fuel, you know. Because, you know, Felix on low fuel is going to be as fast as you would be on the options.
That's true.
Callas is now struggling with high fuel. And, you know, making a little bit of a mistake coming into turn 1, missing the apex there, losing a tenth or two. So Felix is going to have a massive advantage when he pits. He just needs to stay out as long as possible. As Danny Founder, and he makes a mistake in the first chicane, turn 3, turn 4, lost just a little bit of time, no damage. So good for him to be able to continue. And Felix van Daf now over 16 seconds. He's increasing the gap massively.
If he can keep this up, he may have a chance.
He may have a chance, definitely. It's going to be an interesting battle between these two for the win in the Canadian Grand Prix. Oh god, my throat is starting to hurt. Jeez, I've been talking so much.
So we don't have any major battles on track at the moment, but we will have very shortly.
Sander Callas is still making mistakes. I think he's starting to feel the pressure because, you know, he again missed the chicane a little bit there.
And the heavier fuel load will change the balance of the car somewhat, and it can be a bit jarring when you go from having a very light car to having a very heavy car, so he may just be taking a few laps to settle down into the new handling of the car.
Could be, and now Felix van Daf, the gap on over 17 seconds. So Felix van Daf is basically gaining 1 second per lap, and he's not.
It's
even,
like 23%.
What? And you know, gaining 1 second per lap. I mean, he's not even on the options yet. Very impressive pace from him.
Yeah, this is a spectacular showing from him. He's doing what he needs to do to win this race at this moment. And if he's not stopping for another 5 laps or so, he may still end up coming out. If not, right behind him, possibly even in front.
Indeed. I don't think he's going to come out ahead, but he's going to be close. He's going to be much closer than he was. And yeah, The longer Felix stays out, the better for him.
It's all going to depend on when he's stopping for his final stop.
Score in the pits as well as Maguire. There's going to be a battle here between these two. Who's going to come out of the pits sooner? Maguire going for the primes. Score going for the options. The Wall now going easily into third place again. So Felix hasn't gained that much on this lap, but the gap is still almost 18 seconds now. So he hasn't gained a second like he always did, but he gained a few tenths there. Once again. Probably wasn't his best lap there. Oh, I hear crashing noises. Indeed. Who is that? I don't see anything. So we have 14 drivers on the grid now.
No, it doesn't seem to be anybody affected by anything, so again, it may be if somebody had collided with a bit of damage out there.
Indeed, I think Felix van Dove is gonna pit in around 3 laps. At least that's what I'm thinking. And Gerald, something happened to him. Oh, Gerald van der Weyt probably. Have made a mistake and hit the wall or something.
He's 4 laps down, but he is now in the points. So.
Indeed, so he just needs to finish the race, and he has 2 points, I believe.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any points at the moment, so this would be a great result for him.
Indeed, it would be a great result for him. And still, Felix van Dove increasing the gap. Now the gap almost 18.5 seconds. Well, Callis is going to be under immense pressure when Felix van Dove pits.
He really will. The different tires as well will play a really interesting component in this battle.
Yeah, definitely. Now the gap almost 19 seconds. Wow, very, very impressive pace from the Dutch driver. And still almost setting, fastest lap of the race. He's only 1.5 tenths off. Not only his personal best, but also the fastest lap. Because he has set the fastest lap, 1:14.7, and he's done 1:14.9 now. So he's basically, on the, option pace right now. And Sander Callis has done a 15.7, so Felix van Dove gained 8 tenths on the last lap.
Wow, this is some spectacular pace that he has at the moment. Surely
Indeed.
This must mean he must be coming to his pit stop soon, the next lap or two.
Indeed. And he's being very, very aggressive as well, trying to, make the most out of his tires, push as hard as he can, and then go for the win. The gap almost 20 seconds. Wow. Incredible from him.
This is what he needs to do to win. This is exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
And he knows it as well. That's why he's pushing as hard as he is. He's staying out for another lap as well.
Wow, 20 seconds now the gap. Felix van Dove, 14.8, only 1 tenth of his fastest lap as Grau is out of this race.
And we have Arav Roslin stopping for what should be the last lap, or the last stop of this race.
Oh wow! Sander Callis was 1.5 seconds slower than Felix van Dove on the last lap.
Wow.
That is something.
He must be really feeling the pressure in there now.
Yeah, as Roslin comes out of the pits in 9th place on fresh options. So, yeah. Grau was actually already out of the race, he just still stayed on the server, so nothing major there. Still 14 drivers on the grid. Felix van Dove almost 21 seconds. Wow! I mean, that is a performance, that is an impressive performance if I've ever seen one.
This is it, he's coming into the pits.
Please don't mess this up now. Very good entry. 21 seconds ahead.
Now, where is he going to come out? That's going to be...
He was 21 seconds ahead. He could even potentially come out ahead. Oh, he actually could. We'll see. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be very close, actually.
Sander Callis is coming onto the back straight now.
He's already going. I think he could.
He
he's
could
gonna
actually
come
do
out
this.
ahead.
He is. He's going to come out in front.
Oh my god! Felix van Delft comes out in the lead on the option tires while Sander Callas is on the primes. Felix
Wow.
van Delft now just needs to keep it together in the last 20 laps and he's gonna win the Canadian Grand Prix.
That was absolutely spectacular. What an absolute run he made for it there, and he has done it in such a spectacular fashion. He was so
wow.
consistent throughout that whole second stint.
Indeed, I have to say that is very, very impressive pace from him. I mean, that is just incredible. I mean, that is normally what you would see from a WC driver. This is ace, and I mean, wow.
Yeah,
I'm
the qu-
impressed by this. I mean, this is just amazing.
This is probably the best drive I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I think it's probably his best performance ever in his career. Because
Yeah,
he hasn't won a race yet.
That's true.
At least not in Ace. I don't think if he has won a race overall. But this would be his first win in Ace, and also the first win in this championship, obviously. So that would really, increase his chances, in fighting for the title.
But he still has to finish. In order to finish first you have to finish.
Indeed, like you say, 19 laps to go. He just needs to keep it together now, keep his head down, and make sure he finishes the race. Don't do anything stupid because he knows he has the option tires. He knows he has, the better tires, obviously, like I said. And so he just, needs to keep it together now. The gap 4 seconds. He's increasing the gap like a madman.
If you were to compare this to poker, he may have the better hand, but let's wait and see what way the chips fall.
Indeed, and I think we see more battles. I think we're going to see an interesting battle for third place at the end of this race, because the Volt now is on the prime tires, while Schuur is on the options. And also, we have a fight between Danny van der Niet and Sergi Eras.
They're very
8th
close.
place.
Both of those drivers just made their stop on the lap previous to this, and they both stopped at the exact same time. So
Yes,
they've been...
Yep. So I think we're going to see a fight for third place later on. And now we have basically the only battle on the track now for 8th place between Danny van der Niet and Sergi Eras. So
And
let's take a
Eras
look.
is on the faster tyre as well, and
He's
he's
going
going to
for
have a look.
Oh, and he's gone past.
He made that look very easy, but I can assure you
Indeed.
that it wasn't.
Indeed, like you say. And he's up into 8th place and chasing down Rosland, but I doubt he's gonna be able to chase him and overtake him because the gap is 11 seconds and both are on the same tires. So it's gonna be very difficult for him. Schuur now closing the gap a little bit by around half a second per lap. Let's see what he can do. Felix van Delft still increasing the gap. Obviously now it's over 5 seconds. It's a very good job again.
If he can keep that kind of pace up, he will have an opportunity to attack.
Indeed.
So if you're Sander Callas now, what's in your mindset?
Big confusion, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Big confusion.
he's gone from being exceptionally comfortable up the front to now 5 seconds behind Felix van Delft.
Indeed, and it kind of reminds me the Las Vegas E-race when Bono House was comfortably in the lead, and when he made his pit stop, suddenly Olli Päkkilä was in the lead comfortably. Obviously, he had that fan boost glitch, but it's kind of very similar because Callas was comfortably in the lead, and suddenly out of nowhere Felix van Delft is 2 seconds ahead when he comes out of the pits.
Yeah.
Very similar, I think. But no glitches involved this time.
No.
We are professionals. So we basically now have no fights on the track. At least not right now.
No,
I think we're going to see some.
We have some that are on the boil, that are
Yeah.
just waiting for that temperature to rise just a little bit.
Yeah, I think the only battle we can look forward to now is between the Volt now and Christoph Schur. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I think everyone else is settled where they are, at least for now. Unless something unexpected happens, I think this is where they're going to finish. But you know, this is racing. Anything can happen out of nowhere. So, you know, even on the last lap, I mean, Felix can do a mistake on the last lap and just throw it away. I mean, you know, anything can happen. His
It's
engine
very
might
easily
fail, his brakes might fail because, you know, we know that Canada is very, very harsh on the brakes, you know, and you really need to take care of the brakes, otherwise you're not going to finish the race. The drivers are doing so far very nicely indeed, so...
It's a very punishing track on the brakes, especially when you have as many high braking zones as we have here.
Yeah, indeed. The gap between De Volt now and Christoph Schur down to 6.5 seconds now. Let's compare the lap times, actually. Christoph Schur, the last lap time, 1:15.5, which actually is not the best, considering he's on the options. And De Volt now, yeah, half a second slower, 16 dead.
Yeah, it's going to be probably tight towards the end, because it's not just a case of catching him. I mean, and that's always going to be one side of the equation, but then the passing can be quite difficult, especially if you've taken the best of your tyres out trying to close that gap.
Indeed.
So it could be a case that Dwalnell is just thinking about trying to extract as little as possible from those tyres while maintaining the gap for as big as it can be, while Christoph Schur, he may end up pushing it too hard. Adam Maguire touching the barrier there at the Wall of Champions. Not too much.
Indeed.
But Felix is doing what he needs to do now. He's keeping his head down, he's putting in lap times that are consistent. They're not going to win him any fastest lap awards, but they will possibly win him this race if he can keep them up.
Definitely. Yeah, very consistent from him. He also has the fastest lap, so yeah.
And the fastest man on track at the moment is Viktor Ivanov with a 14.8.
Interesting. Well, you know, Viktor Ivanov doesn't have anyone to fight. He has a big gap behind.
Yeah.
And an extremely big gap ahead. I mean, 42 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, there's a couple of battles on track that could potentially, depending on how they perform for the rest of the race, heat up to something a little bit more noteworthy. But at the moment, the smallest gap between drivers is 3 seconds.
Indeed. So Christoph Schur again 6/10 faster than De Volt now. Yeah, the gap is between Eras and Danny Fondery is the closest one. Oh, actually no, but between Schur and Maguire is the closest one. But you know, Maguire is on the prime, so he's definitely not going to close the gap.
Well, we say that, and I had thought that myself as well, but he has managed to close the gap over the last couple of laps. It was a gap of about 4 seconds, I believe.
Okay. Well, that is interesting, but you know, in the end, Maguire doesn't have the top speed due to the suspension damage, most probably.
Yeah, and we
Well,
did see that earlier as well, and that was with the tyres reversed as well. We had Maguire on the faster tyre and Schauer on the slower tyre, and he still wasn't able to get the job done. Oh, Vasco is out. Vasco has retired.
Indeed. So let's take a look. Oh, Jesus Christ. It was coming out of the first chicane turn, free turn 4. Yeah, clipped. Again, the grass. It's for the third time. He clipped the grass, and he's out of the race. Too much damage.
Well, you can't say that he wasn't aware of that type of thing happening. It's happened to him 3 times, so...
Indeed, so that is a big shame for him. So right now we have 13 drivers remaining on the grid. So it's basically all ACR cars out now. It's a big shame.
A very high rate of attrition for this track now.
Indeed, which is, you know, surprising, but because of the conditions.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really had to deal with it as much as they had in the warm-ups and in the qualifying, but the wet weather conditions did contribute to some of this race in a big way.
Yeah, indeed.
Like, I'm pretty sure that when we go back and watch some of the replays of that large accident on the first lap, I would be very surprised to find out that there wasn't a patch of wet track that was the initial starting point of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but you know, I didn't see much of the crashes. I only heard the crashing noises in the background, and suddenly 7 guys out of the race, and I'm like, what?
All I could see was cars everywhere. If there was no clear indication of who was responsible for what, it was just chaos. It was Spa 98 is what it was.
Indeed. So, since not much is happening right now, you can use hashtag #AskFSR in the stream chat and ask us anything you want. Just a reminder for the viewers, you can do so. And we now have a battle actually for 11th place between Rico and Ortiz. We have seen these two battling in this race, if I'm not mistaken. You can see Rico on the left front, a huge flat spot there.
Rico was over a second faster than Ortiz on that last lap.
So this is the closest gap now.
I wonder if maybe Ortiz had made a mistake, perhaps, or is it just the damage that he sustained earlier on is making it a little bit more difficult for him?
Yeah, anything is possible, so we'll see. And we can see the whole track is dry now, pretty much. So.
Adam Maguire again closing that gap down to Christoph Schauer.
Yeah.
1.4 seconds at the moment.
Wait. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Got a little bit.
Oh, and Ortiz! Oh, Ortiz and Rico, they've both had a huge collision.
Oh,
and
in the final chicane there.
That was not good.
Oh, and that is Rico's fault. Definitely, he turned in on Ortiz. Ortiz is absolutely, faultless in this. Rico's fault, definitely. At least from what I saw, because, Ortiz gave him just enough space on the outside, and Rico turned a little bit into him. That caused the accident, so that's on him, I think. But they're still battling.
They're still battling and they're still running, and it doesn't seem to have damaged them a whole lot.
Indeed. Well, Christoph Schauer is not gaining much now on the wall now. The gap's still 5.5 seconds, while Adam Maguire closing the gap now on the prime tires. That is interesting to see.
Yeah,
well, let's concentrate on the battle for 11th. Okay, go on.
I was going to say, it just seems that Adam Maguire has so much more...
Oh, more contact between these two.
They both seem to be missing end plates, it looks like, actually.
Yep, could be. Could very well be, actually. Yeah, I think they are missing the end plates.
They're both going to try it again now, coming into the final chicane.
I think actually both are missing both end plates. Oh, no! Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow.
That was hairy stuff.
Yeah, nice drift into the chicane. Was it only me, or did you see the screen flashing?
It didn't for me.
Okay, I thought it was like a storm or something. Storm in the distance.
Rico is all over the back of Ortiz still.
Indeed, he is.
Oh, I did see a bit of a flash on my screen as well there, but I'm wondering if that maybe is some sort of lighting glitch.
Yeah. Oh, and Barbukov in the pit actually, with 10 laps to go.
And that's unusual.
Is it his first stop, I wonder, or is it his second stop? I'm not too sure, but he's not going to gain anything or lose anything. So.
That is his second stop.
Okay.
And yeah, so he has to stop for the option tires now, so that's why he's making his stop now. I'm surprised he didn't stop earlier for that, to be honest.
Yeah, same. That's their decision, the team's decision. He didn't lose anything or gain anything, so he just lost time. That's it. But didn't lose any positions, and he wasn't going to gain anything anyway. So Danny van der Nee just about to lap him. So
Rico and Ortez again coming down into the first turn.
Rico round the outside into turn 1 and 2. Ortiz hanging round the outside and still holding 11th place. Oh, Rico! Nice
what a save.
What a save that was.
That is
Jesus.
spectacular.
Jesus Christ! That got me scared a little bit there.
I may have to change
Maguire,
my trousers
really
after this.
Yeah, indeed. Maguire really close to Shkur on the 6/10, and Shkur on the other hand now again closing the gap. Started to close the gap to the Volnell. It's now almost 4 seconds.
Rico fishtailing yet again.
Oh wow!
I'll refuse to call that a tank slapper.
So we have 8 laps to go. We have a battle for 4th and 5th between Shkur and Maguire, the two teammates at goal speed. Both are catching the wall now in 3rd place ahead, so that's something to look forward to. And we also had the battle for 11 between Ortiz and Rico that could continue later on. But not many laps remaining, so he needs to get a move on.
What I find interesting about this is Adam Maguire is able to close that gap so dramatically, despite the fact that he's on the slower tyre.
Indeed. And he's very, very close now. The suspension damage now is not that bad as it was before. Probably managed to fix a little bit of that in the pits. So he could have actually higher top speed now. Let's see.
He's right on the back of him.
Yeah, indeed. He has a bigger top speed now, over 333, so he definitely has better top speed now. Oh, but makes a mistake and just nudges the wall there. The wall of champions. Could he be the champion? Maybe.
Maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future. We'll see.
He's come so close to hitting that wall in a big way a couple of times.
Yeah, indeed. He already touched the wall before in this race. So he probably likes, the wall of champions a little bit.
You do gain time by pushing as far as you can out onto that and applying the power as early as you can. But it's a little bit closer than I would like it to be.
Oh, I actually saw another, storm flashes. Interesting.
Oh, and Ortez with a big fishtail there, giving Rico another chance to come back at him.
Sorry for that.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. And both guys now close to each other once again, with some 6-7 laps to go.
They are pushing each other as far as they can. They're in no threat of losing a position behind them.
Just found their way, there's 2 laps behind, so they can battle as much as they want.
Exactly.
They could even pit 10 times or something like that. And they, I think, have Felix van Duff, the race leader, right behind them. So hopefully no troubles there. But obviously they need to, let Felix pass, but they also concentrate on each other, so it's quite hard. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, Rico now with a better exit.
Yeah, if I was Felix now, I don't even know what I would do, because these two...
Ortiz doing a little bit of a Verstappen there. Not that it's bad, not that it's a bad thing, of course. And now Rico is letting the race leader Felix van Duff pass, and Ortiz is doing the same. And now this could be a chance for Rico. Not a big enough chance, but that compromises, the entry for Ortiz. But Rico not close enough to do something about it.
So this battle for 10th and the battle for 4th are the 2 closest battles on track at the moment. This is by far the closer and the most exciting of the 2 battles.
Indeed it is. I don't think Shkur has enough time.
Oh, there's been contact between Ortez and Rico!
Again! Wow. That is like the 3rd time today.
There is no love lost between these 2 drivers.
Definitely. So I don't think Skur is going to close the gap to the Volt now, because they have got 4 laps remaining, 4.5 laps remaining. The gap is still 4 seconds, so if we're going to see a battle, it's going to be between Skur and Maguire, and also the continuing battle between Rico and Ortiz. Rico, another oversteering moment coming out of turn 2. Oh, and Ortiz the same. Coming out of the chicane there.
This is a quite exciting battle between these two drivers.
Indeed. These guys are going for it. They are pushing as much as they can. And this could be a chance for Rico. Rico tried down the inside. Gave Ortiz a little bit of a nudge. Not going to be happy with that. What can he do now? Can he get a better exit? Not quite.
A lot of oversteer still between the two of them in different sections of the track.
Indeed. Ooh, no, actually Rico did the same what Bashko did. Clipping the grass there a little bit, but luckily for him, they were already, slow enough coming into the hairpin that it didn't really affect him that much. But look at that, Rico going for it again. Ortiz defending.
Oh.
A little bit of lockup from Rico. Not a good enough exit, I think, to make something happen into turn 1. Nope, not quite.
I'm literally holding my breath with these two drivers in so many sections of this track.
Oh, and Maguire and Skur, very close. Side by side! Oh, this could be a
Maguire
chance!
going around the outside!
Just don't take each other, guys, please. Don't take out each other, please. Okay, good. Maguire now ahead a little bit of Skur, but now Skur has the higher top speed.
It's going to be side by side into the chicane.
Oh, and he just doesn't have the top speed again. And Skur gets back ahead into 4th place. I think the Volt now is now safe in the podium spot.
Yeah.
But Maguire is going to try and come back. They don't have much time remaining, like 3 laps or something. So, that was very close. He needs to try and do something in the corners because he knows he's not going to get him on the straight.
That's the only place that he has a real chance of doing this.
But Skur is struggling quite a lot.
Oh.
And Maguire's putting him under pressure, immense pressure.
It's an unbelievable amount of pressure. He is right on the back of him. And it's through this section, it's through the first and second sector that he has such a huge advantage over Shore.
Indeed, he just needs to get the slipstream to have any chance on the straight. If he doesn't have the slipstream, he's going
he's going around the outside again.
This is a tactic. This is a tactic from Skur. He braked a little bit earlier to, make sure Maguire doesn't have the slipstream because he knows that Maguire has bad top speed. And look at that, he's just gonna go past easily, back ahead.
Maguire has the inside line.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's gone behind.
Oh, that was really close on the braking there a little bit. Skur is now actually doing some dirty tactics, braking early, making sure Maguire is ahead for the straight, and so he can get back ahead with much better top speed, because Maguire has that damaged suspension. So Maguire needs to out. Oh, that is Rico, I think.
Yes, he's out.
Indeed.
I don't
think he's out, but
he's
gonna,
not. No,
he's gonna crawl back into the pits.
He'll
so
still
the fight
maintain
is officially over.
He'll still maintain that 12th position anyway.
Oh, Maguire, I think disconnection.
Oh no!
Don't tell me. Don't tell me that Maguire's gonna disconnect.
Oh, that is heartbreaking.
I think he is. Oh, he is. Oh,
no.
God. That is like, what, 2 laps before the end?
Oh,
wow, that sucks.
That is absolutely heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking, definitely. And Felix van Delft, is he on the last lap? He is indeed, so Felix van Delft now on the last lap of the race. Oh, this is interesting. Viktor Ivanov, actually fastest lap of the race, 1:14.724. Quite impressive from him. He's now in 5th place, but Felix van Delft now coming into the last sector to hopefully...
What a masterclass in strategy there today from Felix van Delft.
Indeed. Indeed, what a shame for what a big shame for Maguire. Great performance starting from the pits, but now the intention is coming to Felix van Delt, who is gonna come across the line to take his first win in the Formula SimRacing ACE Championship. He wins the Canadian Grand Prix, round 5 of the ACE Championship. Very, very well deserved.
But look at how much that means to him. He is absolutely thrilled.
Indeed, so Sander Callas coming home in second. De Nijl is gonna finish in third place, so that is a very, very impressive performance from the South African driver.
He'll be very happy with this podium position.
Indeed, he will.
Christoph
So
Schauer will.
Yeah.
He'll be coming up in fourth as well, and he'll be very lucky to be able to maintain that fourth position. I kind of had the feeling that Maguire had the better of him, but we'll never know at this point.
Indeed, indeed. So that is it then. I'm just waiting for the rest to come across the line. The Schuur will be one of the last drivers because everybody else from 5th onwards is lapped.
Wow.
So yeah, and Van der Weyde, the last guy that is going to come across the line for 3 points, I think. So that is it then.
That was quite a spectacular race. I really enjoyed this race.
Indeed. So Felix van Delt, the race winner. I think we thought, both of us, that Sander Callas has it in the bag. But suddenly Felix out of nowhere wins by 12.5 seconds. I mean, very impressive, taking his first win here in this 2017 season. And I think also in the ACE Championship overall, because he was in Pro last year. So yeah, very, very impressive. And yeah, I think that performance would be even good enough for, top 10 in WC as well. So yeah, very big congratulations to Felix van Delt. Great results. So, like I said, Felix van Delt is your race winner in the 5th round of the Formula SimRacing ACE Championship here in Canada, in Montreal. 2nd place goes to Sander Callas. 3rd is De Nijl. Christoph Schuur in 4th place. Victor Ivanov 5th. Arif Roslan is 6th. Sergi Eras in 7th, Danny van der Niet in 8th, Stoyan Barbukov probably in 9th. I'm not sure if Adam Maguire's 9th place will count when he DNF'd. We'll see. So Stoyan Barbukov, Adam Maguire, if the place is going to stay, he's going to finish 9th. But otherwise, Stoyan Barbukov in 10th, Oscar Ortiz in 11th, Ivan Rico in 12th, and Jared van der Weyde in 13th. Otherwise, everybody else, the other, I think, 15 drivers or something like that, didn't finish the race. So yeah, I think at first it seemed like it would be a boring race, but I think it was one of the best races, I think, that we've had this year. So, yeah.
It was Felix's. He kept his head down during that first stint. He didn't let it bother him too much that Callas was keeping in front of him and maintaining quite a large gap. He just kept his head down throughout the first and the second one. And then as soon as Callas had pit for his final stop, he just absolutely nailed it. He hit every sector in the way that he needed to. He knew what he needed to do. He just got it done. And wow, it was something else to see.
Definitely, very, very great. Just a fantastic race we've had there. And yeah, tomorrow we're going to have a Pro race in the afternoon and a WC race, the World Championship, later on that day. So stay tuned tomorrow for the Pro and the WC race. That is it from us. We hope you enjoyed this race as much as we did. And I hope you are all looking forward to the races tomorrow. That is it from us, and we're gonna see you tomorrow. Goodbye.